Okay, so I think we are live on Instagram, if anyone, as well as for Facebook. So if anyone has joined us, give me a comment or a wave to let me know that you guys are able to hear me. We'll give everyone just a couple minutes to just make sure you guys are on so that way we are ready to start. Okay. All right. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started. So what if you guys can ask any questions throughout the video at all. I'm able to see your comments and your questions, so definitely let me know whatever questions you have. Feel free to ask them throughout, and I will either address them throughout the video, or I will also kind of stop and answer questions altogether later on. So what we're going to start with is essential oils and what they are, how to use them, and basically different ways that I'm using them in my life and different ways that either you can use them in your life or we can set up like a one-on-one call afterwards to see that you are getting the best and the most benefit from them. So the first thing about essential oils is they are 100% safe and natural. So that's kind of where I recommend that you always read the bottle. You do your research for a particular brand, for either a brand that you believe in or a brand that you're going to be working with, where you're able to see, okay, this brand shows the transparency of the products. Because one of the biggest things with essential oils is that, okay, if someone actually says their products are 100% pure, the essential oil industry isn't regulated. So that's kind of where you have to be cautious about the essential oils that you are buying. Anyone that actually puts in 5% of the essential oil in their product is what is allowed to basically label it as pure, and that's scary in this industry. So that's kind of where you want to make sure that oils that you are purchasing are certified pure therapeutic grade, they are tested, and the transparency is there. So like the brand that I support is doTERRA. One of the things that you'll see is on the bottom of each bottle, it will have like a number. So you can go to the Source to You website, which has third-party testing that doTERRA does, and from there, you're actually able to see that everything is transparent. You're able to see if there's any toxicity levels, if there's any lead, if there's any chemicals, if there's any adulteration. And those are all things that are so important for you to make sure that you are looking for when you're using essential oils, because a lot of people use essential oils for aroma, but one of the things to remember is that when you are breathing in something, that is also affecting your whole body, and you're constantly breathing that in, and that's going to affect your respiratory system as well as your lungs. So you don't want to be breathing in something that could actually end up being toxic for you. So definitely take a look at the brand that you're using and invest in a good brand. The second thing is essential oils can actually be better than some of the modern day medicine that you're using. So, for example, if you have the cold or the flu, when you go to the cold, your doctor is basically going to go and prescribe your antibiotics. So, your antibiotics are going to be water based, where your oils are actually oil based. So, they're able to actually penetrate through the oily cell membrane and get into the skin and help you and support your system the way that it needs to get the actual benefit. And the essential oils don't have the side effects. So, for example, with your antibiotics, they're also going to be killing the good bacteria in your gut. So that's one of the things that you want to be cautious about, is for the bacteria that is in your gut. Yes, you might be killing the bad, but you're also going to be killing the good with the antibiotics. So you want to make sure that you are then going to be taking probiotics to recuperate all of that. And it's going to be affecting your body for the long term, whether it is short term relief that you're getting from it. So, those are just things to be cautious about. Whereas the essential oils will support your body, support your wellness, and help you to support your recovery in a better, more natural manner. Because with these essential oils, they're all plant based. So, one thing with doTERRA is they do source their oils from all over the world. That is one of the biggest benefits, is they always look for where the therapeutic value is most. So for example, sandalwood oil. Sandalwood oil is both sourced from India as well as Hawaii, because the therapeutic benefits are different. So even if you smell the two oils side by side, you'll see what you'll see is basically the Hawaiian one has a little bit of a fruitier smell to it, versus the Indian one has that more woody smell that most of us are typically used to for sandalwood. So that's kind of where there are differences. And then the third benefit for essential oils is that they are very cost effective. So when you actually look at an essential oil, when you look at it drop by drop, it's very cost effective because you're using very little of it. So for example, 1 drop of peppermint oil for doTERRA is equivalent to drinking 26 cups of peppermint tea. So from that, that's kind of where you know that you are getting something that is potent, but you only need to use very little of it when you're either adding it to your water or to your drinks or just topically applying it. So the different ways that you can use the essential oils is aromatically, which a lot of us are already familiar with. So when you have things aromatically, you can either use a diffuser, or if you don't have a diffuser, there really isn't a requirement for you to be investing in a diffuser. What you could do is create like a little scent tent. So either if you have like a cough or cold, rub the oils across your chest, dilute it with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil or a moisturizer or any carrier oil that you have. And then what you can do is you can just always lift up your shirt and create a little scent tent naturally to be breathing in that aroma and helping get that therapeutic benefit for opening up the respiratory airways, opening up some of that congestion that might be there. Another way to do that is also creating a scent tent in the palm of your hand. So you can basically add in a drop of the essential oil in the palm of your hand, rub your hands together, and hold it in front of your face and just take a couple deep breaths in. And that automatically changes your mood, your mind. You'll notice that. How many times have you guys walked into your grandparents' home or into someone else's home and you smell something wonderful, either baking in the oven, whether it's fresh bread or an apple pie or something that brings back memories? That's the same thing that aromas do as well. So with that, you're able to actually see and say, okay, it can actually jog and trigger different memories that are beneficial for you. So that's where you're able to use essential oils for emotional well-being, for emotional support, as well as for supporting your respiratory system, supporting your body. And these are things that are constantly being diffused in the air around you. So for example, one of the oils, eucalyptus oil. This is a really good oil where it is actually being proven to help with oxygenating the environment and the air. So this is a really good one where you're constantly at home now, a lot these days. So this is one where diffusing eucalyptus is really good. And I love eucalyptus, but I also don't love that being the dominant smell. So I will blend it with peppermint. I'll blend it with like a citrus just to kind of tone it down a little bit, but you're still getting the therapeutic benefit by having it diffused in your home. One of my favorite blends that I have is the On Guard blend. So that is this one here. And this is the immunity support blend. So if you have coughs or colds or fevers, this is one that I use regularly for cleaning in the home, whether it's countertops or floor mopping. This is one that I always add a couple drops into my water and just use that, because that way it's a non-toxic, safe alternative to be using. So that is one way to be using your oils, is aromatically by diffusing them or applying them so that you're able to inhale them into your body. The second way to use essential oils is topically. So a lot of us are used to applying things on our skin topically. So applying essential oils, you might say, okay, well, why should I apply essential oils? you may not already know that you're applying essential oils probably through a lot of your products that are there. So what you can do is when you are applying things topically onto your skin, make sure that they are pure and that they are actually beneficial to your skin. Your skin is your largest organ. So that is where everything that you're putting on, you're getting directly absorbed in. So for a lot of us women, wearing makeup, wearing lipstick, wearing eyeshadow, these are all things, moisturizers, deodorants, antiperspirants. These are all things that are constantly being absorbed into our body, whether we realize it or not. And especially as women, we are actually absorbing about 270 different chemical compounds a day by the products that we're putting on our skin. So that's kind of where, be aware, go home, like after this live session, definitely take a look at what you can do in your home. Read the ingredients on some of the products that you're using. Try to make sure that they're as clean as possible. So that is where you want to make sure that the products that you're using are clean. For example, deodorants, antiperspirants and deodorants. A lot of people say, okay, well, why should I make the switch to essential oils, or why should I make the switch to something natural? I highly recommend watching out for something natural. You may notice that your body will be detoxing for a week or 2 weeks as it adjusts to using something more natural instead of an antiperspirant, which is going to be blocking your pores. So with that, antiperspirants contain aluminum in them. This is something that you're using on your body on a daily basis. And in turn, we have a question about hormonal imbalances. That's where, for all of these products that you're using on your body where you don't know the ingredients, and even the ones that you do, you think, okay, the government regulates it and says, okay, it's safe. Yes, it might be safe in safe dosages, but are you going to be, if someone told you, okay, take aluminum every day as a supplement, is that what you're going to do? You have to kind of use your own knowledge and your own research to find out and say, okay, ingesting or applying these things topically onto the largest organ on my body is going to have a side effect, whether it be a year down the road or 20 years down the road. These are all things where your armpits are a part of your breast tissue. So that's kind of where it is directly impacted, especially for women and breast cancers and other skin cancers that are coming about and becoming more prominent now. We have to take a step back and especially look at how things are altering our body constituents. And that's a big thing where hormonal imbalances come into play, where it is hormonal balances. So I have like a whole other video on hormones and women's health. So what I'll do is I'll link that below as well for you guys to take a look at. But just to kind of go over it quickly, is a lot of people now have estrogen imbalances, progesterone imbalances, and those are due to the products that we're using on a regular basis, whether that be canned foods, processed foods, plastics, BPAs, phthalates, all things that we're using or eating our food out of. And that's where there is another hormonal component called xenoestrogen. So xenoestrogen is actually the bad estrogen, which is synthetically produced. So that's where it tries to jump in front of estrogen and get bound to your cells. So what you're trying to do is basically up the good estrogen in your bodies. So doTERRA has a supplement called phytoestrogen that works really well for that, to kind of shove that xenoestrogen out of the side and get in front and getting that good estrogen onto your body and binding onto your cells. So that's where we need to take a look at all of the products and take a complete holistic approach for our lifestyles, because no matter how many oils you use, you're not going to be changing a bad lifestyle or bad eating habits. You have to look at it holistically and say, okay, when I am going to be looking at thyroid issues, or when I'm going to be looking at hormonal imbalances, you also have to look at nutrition as a big aspect of it. So another example for thyroid issues, if someone is having thyroid concerns, there are different oils that you can use to support your thyroid that you can basically put on as like a rollerball. So for example, lemongrass, frankincense, those are myrrh. Those are all really good oils that you can create a rollerball. I'll include a rollerball recipe as well below. Again, if you are on medication, do not go off the medication. Work with your doctor to say, okay, I would like to use essential oils and integrate those into the protocol. And then they can also closely monitor to say, okay, your thyroid levels are looking really good. Maybe we can work with you to kind of reduce some of the dosages that you're taking for the pills and stuff. Because thyroid doesn't have to be a long-term ailment that you're having. These are all things that if you are looking at healing yourself holistically in a complete approach, these are all things that can be reversed. When you look at a lot of these autoimmune issues, a lot of them are basically caused by adrenals, overloading the adrenals, cortisol levels going extremely high. And that's kind of where, when you look a lot deeper into women's health and hormones, you are basically going to be your progesterone levels, which should be more prominent in the second half of your cycle, those are actually being eaten up by the cortisol because your body is being so hyperactive and not having enough cortisol levels. So it's actually taking that progesterone and depleting all of those stores. So that's kind of where PCOS, a lot of women's cycle imbalances, infertility, that's where a lot of these things are coming into play because women nowadays are getting so overloaded with everything that we're exposed to, and now it is becoming kind of the new norm where we need to take a step back and say, okay, how can we support ourselves with self-care, with self-love? And that's where you can use a lot of the essential oils to basically support that and support that journey. And that's kind of where magnolia is a really good oil for supporting that. So a little bit more about the phytoestrogen supplement. So for the phytoestrogen supplement, that is a combination of, it has soy, it has pomegranate extract, and it has one other ingredient in it, along with a few other ones, where it's actually self-preserved by essential oils. So they're all completely natural preservatives, and it's a supplement that you can take daily. There are different protocols, like if you are working towards getting pregnant or pregnancy, there are different protocols that we do recommend for you. For example, what you should be taking at what stage in your cycle, and then once you get pregnant, which supplements you should be taking post that. So the phytoestrogen supplement is basically a great supplement to be taking where if you are having a lot of mood swings, a lot of hormonal imbalances, if your cycle is not very regular, or even if your cycle is regular, but you're having very heavy periods, cramping a lot. And the phytoestrogen, yes, I'm talking about it for women. However, it is also applicable to men because men are also eating the same foods, drinking out of the same plastics. They might not be exposed to as much of the makeup and the beauty products where the xenoestrogens are also prominent in. That's where the phytoestrogen complex supplement can also be taken by men. So for example, if you are finding that men are having different hormonal imbalances, like even diabetes, that is basically based off of a hormonal imbalance. So that's kind of where you can use these supplements and use these essential oils to support different aspects of your body. So that is more about the supplement. I guess what oil do I love the most? So the oil that I love the most is probably lemon. I am a citrus girl. I absolutely love citruses. That is probably my favorite oil. The one that I use the most is probably the On Guard blend. And that's where, especially like for example, if my kids have a fever or anything, what I'll do is I'll dilute it and apply it onto the bottom of their feet, up and down their spine, and by the next day the fever is broken. And that's kind of where, when you have fevers or when you have coughs and colds, it's your body's way of telling you, get the rest that you need to do. Let your body do the healing because it's fighting something. Don't always try to suppress it with antibiotics because yes, there is a time and place for antibiotics, but at the same time, let your body do the work that it needs to do to allow itself to support its body, to heal itself, because your body is so strong and so powerful that if you give it the opportunity to do that, it will basically surprise you with all that it can do. So do a small video on garlic-based oil and its benefits. So for garlic-based oil, so doTERRA doesn't do any of the They don't do like the onion oil, they don't do the garlic oil, but I can definitely do a separate video on garlic based oils and the benefits, and a couple ones that I do recommend either off of Amazon and the benefits of that. So that's kind of where, again, with essential oils, always complement it with natural alternatives. I know, like when we were younger, if we had like a cough or a cold, my mom would always make us like warm milk or like an almond milk based with garlic, turmeric, saffron, and honey. And that's kind of where having all of those natural components in your home that you already have in your kitchen, use those, utilize those. And that's kind of where, coming back to one of the oils I mentioned, turmeric powder. One of the things where everyone says, okay, so why should I use turmeric essential oil? What is going to be the added benefit for that? When you have turmeric essential oil, you are actually allowing the powder, the curcumin powder, to become 11 times more bioavailable in your body. So adding in just the powder is not enough. So when you are cooking with turmeric powder, I highly recommend adding in a drop or two of the essential oil just at the end and quickly stirring it in, so that way you're getting the added benefit of the tourmaline as well as the curcumin to get that extra bioavailability into your body, because that's where you're going to have that added benefit. And that's where you can complement some of the essential oils with the natural herbs themselves. So that's where, if you are drinking peppermint tea, you're not going to be sitting down and drinking 26 cups of peppermint tea, because that's going to be a lot of pee that you're going to be making a lot of trips to the bathroom. So that's where either adding in one drop into a batch of a couple cups of hot cocoa, or even just dipping a toothpick into your essential oil bottle and then twirling it into your water, that's where you're getting such a good benefit for that. So if you're looking to lower your temperatures, if it is really hot outside and you want to come in and cool down quickly, you can always make like a DIY spray bottle with peppermint oil, and you'll notice your body will automatically start releasing some of that heat. And that's also where it's a great support, again, for fevers, where it can help bring down that temperature. But again, with children typically under the ages of 6, you don't want to be using peppermint. So you can use spearmint, which is a gentler form of peppermint, just because it can be very potent and very strong for younger kids to basically be metabolizing and adding into their bodies. So that's where you want to make sure that, again, the essential oils are going to be pure, as well as you want to make sure that you are following the safety guidelines for the dosages, for the applications, as well as for the diffusing. And again, no one has come on to ask anything about pets. So a lot of questions that I get are, essential oils safe for us to be diffusing if we have pets? What I recommend is, if you have any animals in your home, any pets, always leave a door open, similar to a human. If they don't like a smell, they have the ability to walk out. Have that same courtesy for your animals. Always leave the area to be open for them to basically get up and leave. And you'll know, okay, if they're sitting beside the diffuser, they're going to be loving that smell. Whereas if they're always getting up and leaving in the room when you're diffusing it, maybe try putting in less or using a different oil. So that's kind of where you're able to get that added benefit for it. So we've just dropped out of the live here, so I'm just going to restart this. Okay, we're back on Instagram. So basically, that's like the other option, is that you can use it for everyone in your family, including your pets. Like for ourselves, we use it as like a natural bug repellent and tick repellent for our pony, where I'll create like a spray and we'll basically just brush it on. So that way it is non-toxic, it's completely safe, as well as we'll add in some carrot seed oil, which is very good for the hair, the coat, the shine. And that's where you can also use it for smaller dogs. So again, if you are looking to use this for animals, and use it for either pain management or support for your animals, DM me. I will send you like a recommended chart for recommended dosages for your animals based off of the weight, because again, smaller animals will have smaller requirements. So the third way to use essential oils is ingesting them. So again, I definitely don't recommend ingesting essential oils from ones that you would be buying at the medical store or ones that you would be buying at the grocery store, because that is where they are very beneficial. Sorry, that is where they're not beneficial for you to be ingesting them, and they can actually be toxic. So always, again, look at the brand, make sure that either read the label on the bottle, because a lot of them will actually tell you. For example, the doTERRA ones will say, okay, you can do 1 drop. So for internal use, dilute 1 drop in 4 fluid ounces of liquid. So that's where it is actually safe to be ingested. So always read the bottle, because not all the essential oils are the same. It is very important to always read the bottle and take a look at that, to ensure that you are using them correctly. And some people say, okay, essential oils aren't safe. They can actually burn the esophagus. That's where it depends on what you're looking to treat. So if you're looking to support, for example, irritable bowel syndrome, or you're having digestive issues, doTERRA actually has peppermint and their DigestZen blends that are actually enterically capsulated, enterically coated capsules, so that way they're not dissolving in your stomach, because your stomach acids are very strong. They're not dissolving in there, they're actually able to get into your intestines to help support the inflammation, to help reduce that, and to basically help where the issue actually is occurring. So that's where I definitely recommend, again, do your own research. Don't just trust what I'm telling you. Find out a product or a brand that you love and that you want to use. And again, if any of you are wanting a sample of doTERRA's essential oils, DM me, DM Preeti, and we can work with you to kind of get you a sample for you to try out to see how impactful it is in your life. So that's where ingestion can be beneficial. So you can either add it to your water if you are having acidity, if you're having digestive issues, if you are looking to detox or focus on specific areas. That's where you can use different essential oils, to support your health and wellness in that way. So for example, if you are looking to detox, and one of the blends that I use is Zendocrine. So this is a really good one where I don't like the taste of it, but with that they have veggie capsules. So you can basically open up the capsule, put in like a couple drops of the essential oil, again, follow the safety guidelines for the dosages. And then from there you can close the capsule, swallow it, so that way you don't have to taste it at all, and it basically hits the right spots that it needs to go into. And one comment that I wanted to mention as well was, with the essential oils, I've had people where they'll say, okay, I don't like the smell of something. Where can I apply it? So I always recommend, you can always apply it on the bottom of your feet. Your feet have the largest pores on your skin, so that's where it's really good, where it absorbs very quickly into your body. And within minutes, you'll see it working and benefiting you. So I've had one of my recent customers had mentioned she'd applied the oils on the bottom of her feet, and she's like, I can taste it in my mouth. Is that normal? Is that okay? And that's kind of where, yes, it is normal. Not everyone is able to absorb the oils that quickly, but they do metabolize into your body within about 30 minutes. So that's where even applying things onto the bottom of your feet will impact your whole body and get into your complete bloodstream within about 60 seconds. So that's how powerful, when you're using potent and when you're using pure essential oils, that's how amazing the benefits can be, is that you will receive the benefits everywhere. So again, if it is something that is uncomfortable to get the taste, try diluting the oil further, or try using even less of the oil. And that's where creating like a rollerball blend. So doTERRA has amazing rollerball blends as well, where you can basically just put it in a 10 ml roller, get it ready to use, and just roll it on wherever you need it to be placed on. And these are already pre-diluted. So again, I like to reuse the rollers, so you can always uncap these from here, fill it up with whatever blends you want, just wash it out, and then fill them up with whatever blends you want and customize them. So one of the other things, back to the hormones, I guess, quickly, this is a really good blend, Clary Calm, for anyone that is having menstrual cramps, as well as for anyone that is just either starting their periods, or on the other side of the spectrum where they're going through menopause and having hot flashes. So for women that are having hot flashes, this is a great essential oil where it has clary sage in it as the main component. You can basically just rub it onto your temples, on the back of your neck, if you are having hot flashes. Whereas for women that are having cramps and want to have it for as more mood support and pain management support, they can rub it across their abdomen. So there are so many different ways that one essential oil can be so versatile across a variety of ailments. And that's where I recommend investing in maybe a family essentials kit, which covers basically all of the essential oils that you would need to kind of keep it as like a home first aid kit. And these are great to kind of just have in your home to support you at all times. And then there's also the different approach where if you wanted to focus on specific ailments that you have, so pick your top 3 ailments, and then based off of that, what you can do is focus on the oils that support those. So if you're looking for hormonal support, if you're looking for digestive support, immunity support, respiratory support, overall wellness, or outdoor support, these are all different ways that you can basically use the essential oils to support your lifestyle. So one question is, are they safe to use on animals? So especially dogs. So yes. So what I recommend is with dogs, again, depending on the size and the weight of the dog. So like typically under 10 pounds for any of the smaller dogs, what you would do is you would use like similar dosages for what you would do for like an infant. So it would basically be 1 drop in about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of oil, and you can dilute that either into like a dropper bottle so that way it's ready for you to use. And with animals, what I recommend is actually putting like the diluted mixture into the palm of your hand, rubbing your hands together, and then just kind of massaging it behind their ears. So you're going to just basically be massaging their ears and allowing it to absorb into there. Or if they have any wounds that they're not able to lick, or if you don't want them to lick a specific wound, what you can always do is you can create kind of like a salve or like a little wound spray for them to basically support that healing for them. And that goes with humans as well. So all of these things that you can do for animals, you can do for humans as well, to create different wound sprays for allowing yourself to heal if you have cuts or scrapes, or through pregnancy or postpartum. These are all things that you can use since they're completely natural. It is a great support to be having in your lifestyle. So I guess that kind of covers the intro to essential oils. If there are any other questions, send me any questions. We'll kind of wait a couple minutes to go over any more questions that might have come through, and we will then end it off. So what I will do is in this, I will link it below. I will have this recorded. I will probably put this back up on YouTube, where I'll also link to you guys the class that I've done specifically on women's health and hormones, as well as some of the DIYs for your thyroid to support those, to create a rollerball for those, as well as I will link to you guys the safety guidelines for the recommended dosages for both humans as well as for animals, as well as if any of you are looking more, that are either veterinarians that are looking to use these for animals, there are different courses that you can also take to make sure that you are educated in the right way to use them in a safe manner. All right. Any other questions that you guys have from Instagram? Thank you guys for all joining us this morning. I know for India it is a little bit earlier, but it's a great way to get your day started. And for Brunei, welcome. It is probably afternoon for you guys now, so just getting ready for lunch. And these lives I will be doing on Friday. I'm actually going to be doing a DIY Friday at 4 p.m. Indian Standard Time. There will be a DIY for a homemade natural deodorant using essential oils. So definitely join us if you guys are available then. Otherwise, that will also be recorded and put on. So if you guys are looking for a natural alternative for antiperspirants or deodorants, this is a great way to do that. Okay, all right, I think we're gonna end it now. So thank you very much for joining us, and I am so happy. DM me, DM Preeti, if you guys have any questions or would like to reach out to us afterwards, and thank you. Bye.